Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video I really wanted to focus more on the things I do with Avery in terms of therapy and play therapy, what we sort of do each day for the stage that she's at in her development now. If you are new to my channel, hi, I'm Chrissy. I'm a mum of 3. 2 of my 3 children have additional needs. My eldest son has autism and my daughter has cerebral palsy. My daughter Avery is also 100% G-tube fed and she is 18 months old, so we are still very early in our journey and learning to navigate and adapt to catering to her complex medical needs. I would love if you would hit the subscribe button and follow us along on our journey. Boys have gone off to school. When we get home, Avery's usually a little bit annoyed from being in the pushchair. So what we normally like to do is just sit and do some stretches. It's really important that we keep doing these stretches, basically, especially with her arms, because of her high tone. We don't want her little muscles to get stuck in that tight position. So if we keep stretching them out, we just keep that range of motion going and basically keep all the joints working, because there is a risk that her muscles and her joints can kind of seize if they're always stuck in the same position for a long period of time. And Avery usually enjoys her stretches, don't you, Pudding? Yeah? Now Avery is starting to get a little bit big for me to be able to do the stretches in this position, especially when she goes into a dystonic pattern like you just saw. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out eventually, but for now I like this way because she can see me, I can see her, and it's a nice little bonding experience, isn't it? I just love having your feet in my face. If I notice that she is starting to get a little bit seized up and tense, then I'll just give her a little wiggle. You probably see me do that in a lot of my videos, kind of wiggle her arms, and it just helps loosen her up and helps her relax a little bit. The stretch she seems to like the least is the elbow stretch, so I try and stretch her elbow out for her, but she doesn't seem to love it, which makes me think that maybe that joint is a little bit sore for her. We don't tend to stretch her legs out so much just because her legs have a really good movement pattern in them and she has really good range of motion in her legs. We give her hips a little wiggle now and again, but for the most part it's her arms because that's where she suffers the most with the high tone. Stretches is something that we will do every single day because, like I said, it is really important that we keep those Oh, Pudding, have you had enough of stretches? Something you'll notice a lot in this video is that if Avery starts to get annoyed with a certain therapy or she starts to get fussy or upset, then we usually stop. I don't want to push her too hard just because with her cerebral palsy, even the tiniest little task will be quite tiring for her. And if she starts to get upset, it sends her into her dystonic patterns, which then will make her more tired. So it's just not worth it. So a lot of the therapies that we do are over really short amounts of time. We literally only do maybe 5 to 15 minutes in each go, because after that she just doesn't want to do anymore and she starts to get tired and fussy, and then that triggers her dystonia. So it's kind of little and often, just trying to sneak tiny bits in throughout the day. Even the way I hold her, if I can hold her in a certain position that forces her to lift her head up on her own, that to me That to me counts as therapy because it is forcing her to use muscles that she wouldn't be using if she was laying on the floor. She was starting to get a little bit annoyed with the stretches, but stretches are something that we need to be doing at least once a day just to make sure we keep that range of motion in her arms because we don't want them seizing up over time. But I'm going to give her a little break now. Usually her break consists of watching Frozen because that is what she loves to do the most. But it is so incredibly important that I let her rest in between her little therapy sessions just to let her mind and her body recharge. Also, that's just what we found works best for us. And yeah, you gotta do what works for you. So Avery's been chilling here watching Frozen for a little bit. You might have noticed this position that she puts herself in. You can kind of see it with what she's doing now. She'll kind of bend a bit like a banana. That is something we've spoken to her community paediatrician about, and it's also something we're going to have to keep an eye on because if that's the position she tends to settle herself in, because she does it at night when she sleeps as well, that's not really good over time, which is what the things like the X-Panda and the special tomato seat are for. They're for posture support, but obviously you guys know she doesn't really love them so much, so it is something we need to keep an eye on just to make sure her body doesn't get used to being in that position because that could cause her problems when she's older. We're just going to squeeze in a little bit of therapy before she gets too hungry. So our therapies, I mean that's what they're called, they're helping her development, but it just doesn't really feel like therapy. Play therapy, I suppose. They kind of consist of different positions that try and get her to move her hands and kind of interact with her hands, different positions and different things to help with her vision, so moving things around in front of her, getting to track and follow, especially since the kind of lower part of her vision doesn't seem to be developed as the rest of it, so we need to try and encourage her to bring her eyes down. Tummy time is definitely one that we always do because it helps with her kind of upper body strength and her head strength. Prop sitting is something we're still practicing. I think we've still got a long way to go with that, but we generally just kind of mix it up and do a little bit each time. Like I said, we don't do it for very long because she does get tired very, very quickly. What do you think? Shall we do some work? Yeah, come on then. I've been noticing she doesn't seem to be doing that well with tummy time if she's flat on the floor. But things like this ball really, really help because I can tilt it and it helps her bring her head up when she's at different angles. I also do pop the TV on. You are sat right in front of the TV at the moment, so I'm going to pop the TV on as well, and Frozen will help her kind of stay motivated to keep her head up. We managed to get about 15 minutes in. She probably could have gone a little bit longer actually, but it is time for her snack, so I needed to stop. She did really, really well on the ball. I don't know if you saw that, but I think I might try and get that out again later today because she hasn't done tummy time that well in a while. I think it's because I've been trying to do it on the floor and I just don't think she's strong enough for it yet. The ball really, really helps because I can tilt it and kind of encourage her to bring her head up and then slowly bring her back, which is really, really good. Anyway, I need to get her snack ready. She's just having a yogurt for her snack today. I've had to change the timings around a little bit. If you're new to my channel, then I have transitioned Avery onto a blended diet. So it's basically real food that goes down the tube. But the last 2 nights, I think we've realised the timings I was doing aren't going to work. Just because her dinner is around 5:30 and then she has milk at 7:30. She managed the first night, but last night she vomited everywhere after the milk, so I don't think there's enough time between dinner and the milk, so I'm trying to bring the times back a little bit. I don't just want to jump to conclusions and assume that she's not tolerating the milk. What I'd like to do is just give a bit more time between dinner and the milk tonight, see how she manages it. If she throws up again, then I might need to rethink the milk, but hopefully it is just because she was too full and she didn't tolerate the milk because there was no room in her tummy. When Avery's had food, I tend to leave her about 15 to 20 minutes before I do anything else active with her, just so that I don't upset her stomach, basically. So I'm going to take this time to have a bowl of cereal, and then I think after that I might get her shoes on and see if she wants to do a little bit of standing, and then she'll probably be tired enough for a nap. So with standing, what I tend to do is kind of keep Avery in this position, kind of like a squatting position, and then I let her bring herself up with her own strength. And then once she's up, I just have a bit of a hard job trying to keep her body straight. So I need to try and keep her feet flat on the ground, because what she wants to do is go on her toes. And obviously that's not what we want. We want her feet to be nice and flat. What I am noticing is the strength Avery gets to push herself up is caused by a lot of her tone. So what she will tend to do is arch back as she's doing this. So I'll need to kind of keep her legs straight and stop her head from going back. Now this looks like a right faff, and I'm not gonna lie, it is difficult, but we are still waiting on Avery's stander to be ready. I think it's on back order, it's been ordered, we're literally just waiting for it to come in. When she gets her stander, then I won't need to do the job of a stander, basically. She'll go in the stander. It will basically do for her what I am doing now. It's just I didn't want to sit and wait around for a stander to arrive, because I know how important it is that she's bearing weight onto her legs and through her hips at this age. So we're just getting a bit of a head start on it. It's not the easiest of therapies, and I'm not gonna lie, Avery seems to get quite angered by it, as you can tell. I'm not sure if it's just the sensation of being on her feet that she feels is strange. But yeah, basically all I'm trying to do here is just to get her to bear weight onto her legs. The shoes that she's wearing have helped. I actually vlogged the day I bought these shoes. The physiotherapist said that it might be helpful if she had shoes, so the same day I went out and bought some. They're from Next, and they do just help keep her feet flat on the floor. Excuse my appearance, by the way. I've just popped on a dressing gown. For some reason, every time I eat cereal, I always feel really, really cold. But yeah, we don't really ever get to do standing for very long, because as you can tell, Avery gets tired from it very, very quickly. What's up, Pudding? Are you tired? Are you tired now? Avery has not long woken up from her nap. In the afternoons, we tend to take it a little bit easier when it comes to therapies and exercises and stuff, just because I've noticed that she tends to be a little bit less keen on them in the afternoons. I start to get a little bit burnt out as well, so we just like to take it easier, don't we? Focus on things like reaching and touching different textures and stretches and things like that. And sometimes I'll try and get her to have a little sit in the expander for her posture. We are still just trying to get her used to that. It's not really used for any other purpose yet, just trying to get her used to it. Because as you saw, without any kind of postural support, then she doesn't have the best posture. So it is really important that we try and get her used to that. So I recently bought a new iPad. And there's a few reasons why I bought it, really. Not sure if those reasons are just to make myself feel better for making a selfish purchase, but number one, it gives me something bigger to have Avery's baby monitor on, because I can get the app on that as well. So if I'm kind of walking around the house, I can leave her monitor on the screen while she's having a nap. Also, if you guys have been around for a while, then you know I've also got a website where I write blog posts. So I did end up buying a keyboard for the iPad. I actually really like this case. I got it off Amazon. I can kind of set it up a bit like a mini laptop, and then the keyboard's actually magnetic, so I can take it off. And then I also bought a iPad pen. It is not an Apple Pencil. I just couldn't find it in me to spend that much money on something like that. So I went on Amazon and I found something that was a tiny fraction of the price, and it works really well. I can't compare it to an Apple Pencil because I've never had one, but I just can't justify buying things like the Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pencil when I can find cheaper alternatives on Amazon. So that is what I did. But anyway, I can write blog posts on that, which is really handy because that is really portable. And I mentioned in a video a little while back that I have a very old 2011 MacBook Pro, so it is way past its time. It stopped receiving updates years ago and it is literally holding on for its dear life. So I needed to find a way that I could stop using it for so much. So with the iPad, I pretty much do everything on it, and then all I do on the laptop is edit and upload my videos. I feel like if I try and expect more out of it, it's just going to break on me sooner, and I am just not ready to pay the £1,000 price tag on a new MacBook. So I'm really just trying to hang on to it for dear life and just hope that it lasts me at least a little while longer. So in the meantime, I have the iPad to do everything else on, and I've been really happy with it so far. Avery really likes phones for some reason. She likes to FaceTime people, she likes to look at our phones, and I thought because an iPad is essentially a giant phone, it might really be good for her. So I created a little page for her. So that is Avery's page right there. So it's just got a few little interactive games, the camera of course, and Prime Video for, no surprises, Frozen. Anyway, I can set up these little interactive games for her and see if she will touch things herself. So I can show you the game I put on for her now and show you what I mean. So we have this little fish game, and the screen moves as the iPad moves, and when you touch it, it makes bubbles and all the fish come on the screen, which I really like. So I thought it would be a really good one to try and get Avery moving her hands. It is a fair bit later now. My mum just popped around just as I was getting Avery out the bath, so I just sat with her and had a chat for a bit, which was really nice. Something I started doing recently while Avery's been in the bath, now that she actually enjoys her baths a little bit more, is giving her a bit of a massage while I'm washing her and just trying to stretch her arms out a little bit while she's in the bath. Just while she's in the warm water, in theory her muscles should be a bit more relaxed in the warm water, so that's what I've been doing. She seems to be enjoying it, and like I said, it's only recently I've started doing it, just because she never used to like the bath as much. She never used to be chill in it, whereas now she is. She really seems to like the bath, which is really, really nice. Anyway, I'm about to give her her little bit of milk before she goes down to bed, so I think I'm going to close this vlog off here. I hope you've enjoyed spending the day with us and learning a little bit more about Avery's therapies and what we do to keep her development progressing throughout the day. I will just throw a little disclaimer in here. The things that we did today, we don't always do all of it every single day. Sometimes I've got more things to do, sometimes we're out of the house, sometimes we have a lot of appointments, sometimes we're both tired, sometimes Avery's tired, sometimes I'm tired. There's always reasons why we don't always get everything in, but the things that we like to focus on at least once a day is using her hands, so whether that's feeling different textures or trying to reach for things, also putting her in some kind of position where she needs to bring her head up just to try and keep her neck and head strengthening, and the stretches. Those I'd probably say are the 3 things that we do every single day without fail. The rest of it is kind of if Avery's in the right mood and if we've got time to do it. Obviously we do make it a priority. It does get prioritized over a lot of other things, but sometimes Avery is just not having her therapies, but that is okay. I am still a mum, and sometimes I think it can be quite difficult to find the right balance between being a parent and being a carer. Sometimes I don't want to do therapies, I just want to play and cuddle, and that is perfectly fine. As long as Avery feels loved and happy, then I'm happy with that. So I've rambled long enough. With all that said, I will see you in another video in a few days time. Bye guys.